Was Gucci. It's your girl Jer Bear, aka Jeremiah Neal, aka the Pop Culture Maven, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite chat show, the Weekly Wind Down. I hope it don't sound too pretentious when I open up that way, but I gotta just declare that I know y'all love coming on here and hanging out with your girl. It's like FaceTime. I know the week been going by, things been crazy, visiting family, everybody doing what they do, but when the Pop Heads Anonymous just come together and we talk that talk, girl, I understand why I'm y'all favorite, and it's okay. Make sure to go ahead, leave that 5-star review. I kid. What's going on, y'all? How is everybody? What's good? I say this as if y'all just answering back in me real time, but I already know it's everybody being blessed and highly favored because that's what we attract. If you rocking with me, that means life figuring itself out, and we up and at it. Luckily, y'all, I have to say I'm feeling a lot better than I was last week, and thank the heavens, y'all, because I was hating, sounding like Baba Black Sheep Girl, Britney Spears. I was feeling a little out of my element because y'all don't understand. Like, I love getting all set up. I be feeling like I'm on my Wendy Williams flow. Like the next, what's that man, Elvis Duran in the morning show on Y100, Z100? Like, this is what your girl gives when we set up for recording this. So to feel like, just things weren't flowing right, I'm like, yeah. But yes, we definitely feel a lot better. So hopefully I sound better and hopefully we're given the vibes that we need to get through another week. However way you are listening today, and no matter what time of the day you are listening, I'm just hoping that you are relaxed and you're ready to get some word. We going to church today a little bit. I just love being in my radio host bag. That's my little word of the year. We need to let that go. But I don't know. It's always cool to just see something come full circle like that, especially a dream. I've been dreaming. Come on, Selena. Speaking of dreams, I am ready to go on these trips. Being in my travel era, girl, like I've been just sitting there plotting and dreaming about all the places that I want to go next year. Girl, we have got to get to Nashville. We have got to get to New Orleans. We have definitely got to revisit some places that I've missed. The Bay. Definitely got to hit up Florida too. I haven't been to Florida back home in so long. But if you are listening and I did not name your city, you need to comment and let me know, where do I need to go in 2026? Where is your girl traveling? I definitely need to get my European bag on. It's been a minute since I've been to Europe. I'm definitely feeling Paris. I'm feeling Portugal. Okay, definitely feeling I deserve some Nando's in the UK too, so we're gonna figure it out. Here y'all go. Y'all know I love me some food, and that's exactly what I wanted to talk about because I don't know if y'all also experience this, but does anybody else stem when it comes to food and especially food cuisines? Like, don't get me wrong, I love all types of cuisines. I love all different types of food umbrellas, but for some reason, I totally get fixated on one particular cuisine, and then I carry that out for like 3 weeks, and I don't want to have nothing else besides anything in this one cuisine. And right now, it's giving Tex-Mex Mexican food, and it's like, girl, we need to step beyond a soft taco. We need to get beyond a burrito, but that's all I want with my little Tabasco sauce and my little queso and chips. So y'all pray for me, especially during this season. We supposed to be having Yule log, girl. What people be eating? What other nasty food y'all be tearing up during this time? That nasty fruit cake. None of that for me, girl. Give me my chips and queso. I also love this part of the year because it's just that time of year where everybody just be checked out, girl. Nobody be giving a at work. Everybody just be dilly-dallying in the streets. I especially love seeing the kids out playing in the snow and stuff like that. I don't know. I just feel like they're having a childhood, which is so needed in a time where technology just rules everybody's worlds. Seeing the kids outside being active with each other and enjoying each other's company. I don't know. I think it's super, super cute. It's like what society could be like if we didn't sit here and prioritize word, like y'all girl Rihanna every 5 seconds. It's giving, honestly, that COVID energy. Ooh, what an era. I miss that. What a frequency everybody was on. I just wish I wasn't so scared during that time. I should have been outside like everybody else. Well, no, I'm happy that I pledged to look out for thy neighbor, and I'll stand on that. But I know some of y'all was really outside during that time. Not me, girl. We was locked away like Rapunzel. It also seemed like everybody and their mom is doing some type of cleaning ritual. Like, honey, the streets are filled with the trash. I mean, maybe because the weather changes and stuff like that, they not on their normal schedule. But girl, like everybody throwing everything out, and it's not even just like boxes from the holidays. It seems just like a lot more purging of things. You know me, I love, girl, why do we need to go on Temu, Amazon, all them tacky ass corporations, girl, when you can just walk down the streets? You can get you a new shelf from thy neighbor. Talk about thy neighbor from earlier. But luckily enough, it's cold enough where you can't smell none of it. So that's the biggest blessing, I would say. But I've honestly been doing my own personal cleaning, and I have to have a good playlist. Honestly, bump playlists. I've been going back to albums, maybe because CDs have been coming back into a thing, and obviously vinyls, but I've been loving listening to an album through and through instead of having a mix of tones, because playlists and Spotify have gotten it so easy to just press play and let the algorithm curate for me. But sometimes it's nice to listen to a body of work. But one example I could give y'all is Alessia Cara released, I believe in 2021, an album called In the Meantime. And woof, while listening to this album while cleaning, there's this song that always comes up and it makes me stop, and I always get all emotional. And it's like, girl, you need to just focus on the task. Like, why you always think you in some type of Disney movie? But it's true. The song is called Best Days, and it talks about putting all your eggs of fortune all in points of your life at which you feel like are supposed to be the best times, like your peak times in life, like graduations and getting married and having kids. And to sum things up, are these the only good times that we're supposed to have in our life? And then once you've had them, is that all? Like, are we just sitting here? What is our purpose here? What are we doing? I feel like a lot of people can relate to that sentiment, hence me stopping everything and looking out the window, gazing like, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing here? Especially people that are attached to their glory days in high school and college. It's easy to sit there and reminisce on those times over and over again, especially when you're not getting a lot of stimulation, especially when a lot of third spaces have been removed and we don't get a lot of connection from other humans outside of work. It's like, girl, we do not need to be being best friends with our coworkers, even though we can love them to death, y'all. But it's like, we need to be finding other people outside of that. So it's easy to get caught up in feeling like this everything that I was supposed to live has it already happened, and I'm just sitting here and waiting out until death, which is always like the oxymoron of things, because the more we dwell on that, the less time that we have to actually create new and better moments that will add value to our current life, the one that we're experiencing, not the one that we're thinking about in the past or the one that we're so driven towards creating for the future, but the one that we're present in right now. We sometimes heavily ignore that. But on the flip, instead of it being something like emotional, like Christina Aguilera's I Am Beautiful, where you just feel sad. I mean, I guess you're supposed to feel empowered, but I just feel sad listening to that song. But with this Alessia Cara track, I'd like that I'm reminded that focusing too much time on these points of glory causes us to lose focus on the in the meantime of life, that waiting period time, that honestly the 95% of time that we be spending in life. And I feel like if we all learn how to tap in and focus on that particular time, if we know how to enjoy that space without feeling like we have to rush through it to get to a point, when you actually enjoy the walk to the destination or the 45-minute drive to get to work, if you can learn how to just sit and dwell in that space at peace, I feel like that is the true reward in life. That's how we can appreciate those moments of true actual bliss, is because you can naturally live in the state of neutrality and true appreciation for the world. I know that that's easier said than done, but it's something that I think about all the time, especially during these like reflective periods. You know, I love me a park walk, but you know, the trees ain't treeing right now. All the leaves are gone. So it's nothing to distract me during the walk. And I have to really sit there with myself and think sometimes. And I'm sure a lot of other people are definitely reflective during this time, because it's tradition for us to want to set ourselves up for success in the future new year, or sit there and dwell on what could have been in this past year now that times are wrapping up. It's a natural human cadence to do this. We have been trained to do this. But what we got to start paying attention to is that in between time. It's so very easy to get caught up in the fast-paced feeling of feeling like you just got to be in a rush and you got to get to the destination, especially in a place like New York, to the point where, you know, a whole 5 days will go past and you haven't documented, you haven't realized anything that you've done. You can't recall a single thing for yourself. And we got to rush. We got to go, that we missing out on the beauty and the point of life and the whole reason of what we're supposed to be living for. That's the true heaven, is the observation of the present, of the now. And I'd definitely be knowing that, because if you're not present, girl, in New York, you'd be missing out on all the cuties on the train. You can fall in love 20 billion times on the train if you just open your eyes. You got to be off the phone, stop over there trying to look at the same damn TikTok and Instagram video over and over again on the train and open your eyes in order to see that. I feel like the direction that we are headed, especially in a Western capitalistic society, is you have to give up prioritizing a balance of self in order to make room for that rush experience that I was just talking about. In order to make room for that, they want to impose all types of distraction on your life to create that crazy ass cycle that repeats for everybody. And that's only one person. But then imagine when you amplify all that chaos times 8 million people in a place like NYC or a place like Los Angeles, Miami, etc. Of course, it's going to be craziness. I definitely feel like I was nurturing my gifts, but I wasn't honoring my gifts a lot of the time. And I was in LA because I was just trying to get by and make a quick buck, not realizing that using my voice, what I'm doing right now, or using my talents to possibly teach dance class, that would give me more fulfillment overall instead of trying to make all this money and feel like some corporate big shot. I also feel like society counts on people not being able to live up to their goals. They want everyone to have some type of like struggle story because then you can use external circumstances to quote unquote fulfill those needs. Think about it. We always need the best facial cream or some type of hair product or whatever to fix our problems instead of going within. And to these people's eyes, that's ka-ching girl, show me the money. So of course they want you to stay in a loop like such. We're also a very class society. We're very class based. So they can't have everybody awakened, y'all. Imagine if everybody on the planet was awakened and they knew their internal and quite frankly, their external worth. There would be no people working. And I hate to bring it to job related things, but nobody would be working a 750-hour job, no matter where you were in the country, because you would have the openness of your mind to be able to create the same way that inventors do and CEOs do of these companies, because you know that you are just as qualified, just as capable, just as versed and deserving by your innate nature of being a human being to have that opportunity just to be and dream big for yourself. Think outside the box. Use your very own brain to conceive something extraordinary or grand. These are things I do believe sometimes, especially in the school system, they love to try to minimize our capabilities. They would rather us sit there and compete with ourselves on a test score instead of challenging each and every single one of us to figure out our exact path where we are very fruitful with our mind, trades, skills, developing these, nourishing these. They would rather us compete with one another and rank us in class and who gonna be the valedictorian. Well, girl, that honestly, to me, that don't matter in the real world. But I really would have loved to have been able to honor my gifts in high school and have them be fruitful in my 30s instead of kind of like running away from them, because we were always told that the arts are something that you should run away from because that's not a trade that's going to be profitable or lucrative. And now you fast forward 20 years and people can aspire to be an influencer and be making more than the teachers and the lawyers and the doctors and all the things that they told us that we needed to go to college for. We should just listen to follow your heart, your intuition. Like Jewel, we should have listened to our intuitions, y'all, but we let all that talk get us off the right path and the right frequencies. There go passionate Jer Bear. But anywho, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. During this time of year where everybody be doing their little New Year's resolutions, because everybody loves, it's the time of the season for resolution. For me, it honestly makes me feel queasy, because this is a time where I feel like everybody be making these big declarations. They used to do this a lot on Facebook. New year, new me, all these things. I used to do little YouTube videos about that in the 2010s because it was trendy. It was cool to declare like the new vision that you saw for self, and especially doing it for external validation or for external eyes. But I feel like that's one of the biggest problems. Like we trying to put on for one another instead of sitting there and trying to assess like, what are we actually wanting or craving? What is the rhythm that our body is desiring to be in wave frequency with? We just see so many humans declaring all these big things and then not living up to their word. Put so much effort to sit here and flaunt for one another. And then by the time we get to Black History Month, 90% of people have dropped off from these goals. I want to be clear that the issue isn't us wanting to have goals for ourselves and seeing ourselves in these bright spaces. Like, we should dream of ourselves. We should see ourselves as our highest self. That's our whole point of being here on this planet, I feel, is to see it through, that you deserve everything that's in your head. You deserve it. I don't care what nobody tells you. If you feel like you are going to be the president, if that is your mission and you truly feel that is your heart, follow that path and see it through. It's the why that I'm concerned about. Why do we feel like we need to be in a routine like this to be all reflective and put in some official stamp in front of each other to show each other, oh my goodness, this is the journey that I'm on, instead of just following that journey for self? Like, we got to learn how to honor our cups. When we need our own refills, just honor that. We go to our own wells and we just find that water and we replenish it. It doesn't need to be a big show, in my opinion, because then we fail. Then it's like, oh, you want to hide or you want to hop into the next thing to, again, be a showman. Why do we feel this need to put on instead of looking to where our cups actually need to be refilled? So people are so quick and habitually ready to just give up on themselves 3 weeks into a mission. Like, we really got to study this as a science. Why are there not enough spaces for us to find folks that also have these same goals and that want to uplift one another and empower one another to get to the next step? Why is everything in society turned so individualistic at this time? We need more accountability groups outside of just church. People need uplifting without feeling like there's going to be some type of like repercussion, reprimanding, or some type of trade. Like, I have to give you all of my heart and soul or whatever in exchange for feeling fulfilled. Why can't I just feel fulfilled because I have accomplished a goal? Like, it shouldn't have to be a trade-off to be a human and get to your destination. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like I used to have that as a kid. We used to have like little support groups, especially if you were a theater kid in elementary school and middle school. They used to have little clubs and stuff like that and aftercare where you could go and kind of like be yourself amongst kids. That's why I kind of found some of my first friends before the internet, where I could actually truly be myself. Because when your girl was in class, we was always getting teased by the boys because they were like, why you like NSYNC and Spice Girls? We need to have that, but in adult form and in person, IRL. That is so important. That's why I always stand a con. I love a Comic-Con, all those places where people can nerd out. They can wear their cosplay gear. I will never fault anybody for wanting to go to one of those, because those are one of the few places where I see that there's a space for people to just be themselves against a normal grain of society. Because the rest of society, when they be walking past these conventions, they be judging these people. Why they wearing those furry costumes and yada, 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 knowing good and well they want to go have fun and be on the frequency of those people that are in those conventions. So just something to think about. And another thing, rest by Black folks and some other people, groups of color, I would say, they love to overwork themselves, or like we love to hide, like, oh, we gonna do the 17 days in a row and get half of that of overtime during the holiday season. That just seems to be like the thing to do. And instead of this to be the season where you should be in bed, you should actually be sleeping. You should be catching up on all the rest that you didn't get for the whole rest of the year, because you are also trying to get the same overtime during the summer. So of course, like, I get that you want to go on the trip, or you want to support the kid who also has a field trip. I don't know. I get that we want to keep up with the Joneses and we want to have the fruitful life, but part of that is also paying attention to self and feeding what you need inside. And rest is one thing that I do feel, especially when it comes to Black folks, that's something that we ignore. And then that type of hypertension builds up in our older years to a point where it's a little too late. It translates into high blood pressure or areas where it's very difficult for you to walk, which is crazy, because I'm thinking about living in a city like New York. I'm like, thank goodness I'm here at this point, because I don't know if I could do this in my 50s. It's really hard to get around in the city when you got to walk up and down all of these different staircases all the time to get to the trains and stuff like that. I'm like, when I see an older person doing it, I'm like, I don't know how they're doing it, because it's really hard to maintain a lifestyle of comfort in a place like this, in an area where you have to be super active on the body. We be ignoring the signs that our body is telling us that we need to rest. Then you be wondering why you're so irritable looking at Savannah jacket while waiting in line for your latte at Starbucks. Your spirit just annoy you. It's because you need sleep. It's because you need your vitamins and you need your water. But sometimes we just have to ignore these things because we're trying to get into the motion of the ocean of the life. And that's kind of silly. We are our own priorities. don't know about y'all, but my goals, it's not even like resolutions because I'm even at that part of time. I personally feel that spring equinox is the perfect time to activate some type of like New Year's vibe because that's when you see the trees come alive. Like that's nature's time of activating a new season. So this time is for me to like kind of chill back, relax, observe, reflect, just vibe out. But I personally am aiming for a season or an era of just quality existence. I don't know if y'all feel that because it's been a time where you turn on the telly, you go on TikTok, and everything just seems to be chaos and craziness, and it seems to be amplified times 100. But my goals are just feeling like I'm always well fed, not skipping breakfast. I always want to feel well nourished at all times. I want to feel well hydrated. I want my mindset not to feel foggy, not to feel like I have to run to get a latte or a coffee to feel like I am alert. I personally have never felt like that for a consistent basis more than like I've done like week sprints where I've done like cleanses and stuff like that, but I've never felt that as a lifestyle. And I feel like when people feel when they're on those kind of frequencies, that's when they can unlock like another level on Super Mario, or instead of it being like the two-dimensional game that we used to play on the 90s on our Sega Genesis, it transforms into like the 3D version where you can do like world play. And that's what I'm trying to get to. I want to feel like, you know, the Sims character as opposed to like this two-dimensional hopping trying to get to a treasure here and there. In order to do that, you kind of have to be in tune with what your body needs instead of just giving it up to fit into the matrix of being in this, I have to go and I have to get somewhere all the time. I don't know if y'all ever seen Toy Story, but there's a part in the movie Toy Story 2 where one of the villains has to drive all the way to work and he's driving only about like 10 feet across the street. But it gets to me. You see it all the time. People have so much aggression on trying to get to and from a destination. What is the point? What are you doing in there? Are you able to catch up with friends and family? How can you turn a pickle into something that you enjoy? We would see things a little bit different, and the sphere of hope could go back to a time that I felt when it was the same way like it was when I was a kid in the 90s. Everyone just felt groovy, and not everybody got along. Not everybody was of the same political affiliation. Like there were so many differences, but there was also a lot of sameness, and people looked towards finding sameness or likeness amongst one another instead of just trying to make everything a pointing game and how everybody is so different and bad and wrong. It takes us to be able to create that type of framework because we can't rely on these crazy ass dumb behind crazy politicians that don't be looking out for us. You can't rely on all these other people, y'all. It got to be us to be able to create that world that we're missing. Everybody's talking about, well, we don't have any more cookouts or parties and stuff at the beaches and stuff like that. Well, all those aunties, they need looking after. They've already done their job. We have to be the ones that start creating the parties and those third spaces that I was speaking of earlier. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to be doing a little bit more slowing down and also trying to give myself some credit for some of the things that I've been able to get through. Like I might open up to y'all eventually, but 2024 was like a hell of a year for your girl. And I was able to push through and not necessarily pivot my life, but just give myself a second chance to be like, hey, okay, let's restart, let's reboot. And things have been working out quite well for your girl. You know, I'm quite novice to some of the choices that I've made, but I'm learning and I'm taking life day by day. And I got to give myself credit. And so should you. Everybody should give themselves credit for being able to problem solve and fix things that they didn't think that they would be able to get themselves out of. And especially if you did it by yourself, go off. I don't even care if it was, girl, you taught yourself how to cook and it was the same dish 3 days in a row. Girl, go ahead and do that. I don't care if it was calling a friend from college that you hadn't spoken to in a long time and you thought it would be weird to like rekindle the flame. Go ahead. If they've been on your mind, there's a reason that they've been on your mind. Just go reconnect and see where that brings you. Like there might be a reason for it and you don't know unless you go in and try for it. It's just like those are little moments in life that kind of change your trajectory for good. For good, because I knew you. That's a side note. We needed to be talking about that. Streaming services really do be killing me because why is Wicked for Good already able to be purchased? The movie been out only for 4 weeks, 5 weeks in the theaters and it's already on the streaming services. Like I remember as a kid, we used to have to wait moments, months sometimes even for a movie to get on DVD. And now I feel like all these kids nowadays, they have everything so easy access. They get the express treatment, like the A train. They don't know how to like, I don't know. The same thing I was talking about earlier about the dopamine bill. They have everything already. They have the buffet since out of the womb. They have everything at the palm of their hands that I feel like a lot of people, especially baby alphas, Gen Z, they don't know the idea of wanting for it because they just have it so accessible. It's so crazy. But anyway, when somebody asks y'all what y'all goals are for, I would say 2026, tell them we are existing. No overwhelming ourselves, no freaking out. Family be calling y'all, ringing y'all phone. You can't handle it. I'm not saying send people to voicemail, but be like, I'm gonna call you later. And you go take yourself a walk at the park, go get your ice cream, go do what you got to do to be able to confront whatever battles y'all got to go through. Self. And that might seem a little awkward to people because there's a word going around that I want to clear up. Just because you have self-love or you value self or you value your time does not mean that you are a narcissist. I've been seeing that in every single podcast clip on TikTok. Everyone's a narcissist because they didn't call me back or they said they would lend me money and they ignored me or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, they're a human being or they're focusing on self, or maybe you're leaving out a lot of the story, which seems to be a big old thing on social media too. People be leaving out 65% of the story and then it takes somebody else on the other side of the party to give us the full truth on things. So I would say, while in the meantime, since that's the theme of today's chat, in the meantime of all of that judgment, you have to focus on self. Well, why wouldn't you want to? Instead of wallowing, oh my goodness, I could do this and I want to start this book club. Girl, start the book club. Get on that Discord. We got to be a little bit more about action, and it has to stem from self, especially after COVID. It seems like nobody don't want to take a chance on creating something new. It's been a lot of repetition and I don't understand what that's about. But when you can just exist, that means that you're opening your portal up to then be the visionary, the groundbreaker to create something new. And it might take a while, just like this, just like the weekly wind down. It might take some time for the momentum to build, but that don't mean that you're not working, just give yourself that time. And then who knows, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to have that moment, but you put in the time, the moment, the energy, the effort to pour into self. And that's the only foundation that you ever need in life. We don't need no validation from no white man, no corporate America, none of that shit. I mean it, y'all. Listen, if y'all are people that love a list, you love to have your goals in order, you love, like we were just talking about, I love me the notes app. Some people love to have their sticky notes on the mirrors at home. I am definitely not knocking that. Like, please, let's have order. If that's going to get you to whatever your next step is, girl, please activate that. Let's go. I rock with it. But just realize that these are like tools to assist you on the journey, but they're not the guiding forces of your journey. Like, we have the brain power. We are the ones that are moving the story along. And I used to have that conflated too. I used to be like, oh my gosh, I need the best camera in order to do the vlog. And it's like, no, girl, you need to have your idea for the vlog in order to do the vlog. I know that sounds so silly, but some people don't realize that the tools are not the activation or the driving force of what your idea is from idea to fruition. It's you having to just go ahead and deep dive. And what's that song? Let Go by Frou Frou. You got to be the one to just jump in and not freak out. There's beauty in the breakdown, girl. Anywho, y'all know I can't leave here without talking about no music. So before I go, I don't know if y'all been hearing about this girl, Sunshine Benzie. Now, I've been a little skeptical, even though I do love me some Iggy Azalea. I'm going to be one of the people that go up there. I hate that y'all bully Iggy Azalea out of rap because she done gave us a lot of bops. And especially, y'all got to think about BPM. With the trap wave, a lot of people wanted to slow down rap. And the one thing I loved about Iggy is that she wanted to make up-tempo songs. She wanted to give y'all the songs to pop y'all punanis to and get jiggy with it and do what it do. But y'all just rejected her because she was white. And I get it. There's a lot of cultural nuance. There's a lot of things. But I'm just saying, our girl, if we gonna let a couple people shuck and jive, if we gonna give Elvis a museum, let my girl Iggy have a tour. But anyway, speaking of white rappers, this girl is so cute. I really, really like Sunshine Benzie. I discovered her on TikTok. So many people have been reposting her content, but her lyrical flow kind of reminds me of Foxy Brown. She has like a really like soft baby voice, but it has like almost like a hiss to it, like a Foxy Brown, almost like MAGA Man Me Too. Quick with it, I don't know. Very cool with the cadences. The overall thing that I'm flagging about this is that it's so cool to watch baby alphas and Gen Z have their artists on the rise and watch them grow. Because it was the same thing for me. I remember being in high school and watching Rihanna and Taylor Swift debut and have their first albums and their second albums and their rise to glory. So it's so cool to see like what could be next or who the potential artist could be being in then 5 years. It was the same thing that happened with Chapel Roan when she started around COVID. And then it took her about 5 years for people to like catch on to her wave and her to be doing the Lollapaloozas and all that. So yeah, y'all got to get into my girl. Her song is called Trump the Bill. So maybe I need to be listening to the song a little closer. I need to be listening to these lyrics, child, because I am not trying to be advocating for he who must not be named, girl. Overall, I'm really liking what she's giving. And I love the name Sunshine. It kind of goes with my whole Sunflowers theme. So y'all got to get into her. And y'all got, I don't know, y'all got to get into my girl, Olivia Jean. I've been seeing her everywhere. And I'm typically not, I hate to be a part of a fad. Like, I hate to be the one to catch on to someone when they're a little too late. But I feel like I'm going to have to join her look cult because everything that I've been seeing, she is just giving me 90s opulence on the cover of the magazine with the flossy jewelry and the shoulder pads and just, oof. I want to put her on the cover of Waiting to Exhale with Whitney Houston and all them, Loretta Devine. Oh she honestly reminds me of my girl Amber Mark. Shout out to my girl Amber Mark. I think she just went on tour with Sabrina Carpenter, but Amber has been putting out music for, I want to say, almost close to a decade. So again, talking about how long it takes to just see things out, but they would make an awesome tour together. So maybe, who knows, 2026, that might be a thing. And if that happened, y'all better let people know that y'all heard it here on the Weekly Wind Down, because this is what we do. We gaze into the future like Raven, and we be predicting that good. Once again, talk about dreamscape, talk about going deep into the mind. I love doing things like that because y'all never know. I've accomplished so many things from just saying I'm going to do this and then it's happened. And I never really thought I would do it, but then it ends up happening. So you never know. You honestly never know. But who y'all been listening to? I'm very curious as to who y'all think is going to be on next, or who y'all just been vibing to outside of some of the artists that we have been talking about on the chat show. So if y'all have a new artist that y'all been vibing with, hit me up in the DMs. Make sure, like I said, give this chat show a 5-star. If you know a pop head who wants to join the Pop Heads Anonymous, make sure to share the link with a friend. Share it even with the aunties, the unks, the people that you know put you on to that good 70s, 80s, 90s music. I also want to connect with those people too. We're going to get everybody. We're going to have, just like New York, we're going to have every single age bracket out there having a good old time. Make sure to have an amazing, amazing, amazing start to the new year. And yeah, I'll chat with y'all next week. This has been Jer Bear chatting on the Weekly Wind Down, and I'll rock with y'all next week. Holla!